Thank you everyone for attending the Latinx Games Festival, the 6th annual Latinx Games Festival. I have one more speaker lined up for Micro Talk. He is a content creator, a podcaster. He is also someone who is focused on being the big brother that a lot of people didn't have. He's learned and done so much based on not so much being shown the way to go, but learning through life and hard experience. It is my honor to welcome to the stage Theo Starling.
I can't even fathom how I'm here among everyone else. I kind of feel like an imposter, but that's a part of imposter syndrome, right? So when I was growing up, I never felt that I belonged. I always sort of felt like I was behind everyone. I grew up in the Bronx, and there was actually a huge Latino community there. So I never felt left out. I never at any point felt that I was being underrepresented or things of that nature, just simply because my people were always around me, right? And I didn't know that inadvertently I was sort of pigeonholing myself because I didn't know the power of people. That sounds funny, but I didn't know the power of my own people. And it took a little while. I had a lot of hardships growing up, going to school. I remember getting my lights shut off all the time, and my mom had to have a pot of cold water just so that the milk wouldn't spoil. I don't know if any of you ever went through that, but it was really difficult. And whenever I did have electricity, video games were always something that I resonated with very, very much. It was an escape from reality. I learned how to read playing video games. Illusion of Gaia was actually the first video game that I played and read all the way through, and as a result, my love for gaming increased exponentially just for the simple fact that something I couldn't be taught in school, I was educated from video games. Nowadays, video games, of course, are different. There's voice acting, there's motion capture, you have physical actors representing the roles of these characters. So unless you're playing an indie game, you might not get that same experience where if you were that kid and you had a hard time reading, you sort of push through just so that you can experience the joy of this game that you're playing. And we fast forward a little bit, and I always enjoyed the idea of having a podcast, having an opportunity just to air my thoughts out to the world, because that's the day and age that we live in, right? We are our own brand, we are our own ambassador, and we have to get ourselves out there the best way we know how. And hearing everybody's talk today is just really eye-opening for me, honestly. I didn't necessarily come here with a script. I came here with an idea of what I wanted to talk about. And when I came up with the concept of Big Brother Neo's podcast, which is the podcast that I'm currently running, I had multiple people ask me, what's your podcast about? If you had to narrow it down into one sentence, what's your podcast about? And for me, I didn't have an answer. No, I didn't have an answer. So I had to really do some soul searching. And as I started looking at my content and as I started having conversations with different individuals, I realized I'm giving life lessons, essentially. Things I wish I knew when I was younger. And that's sort of what it became. I like having life talks. I love interacting with individuals, and I got a really cool piece of, it wasn't fan mail, it was a question that somebody had for me. And this individual seemed so lost in who they were as a person, and they were going down a dark path, right? I don't want to expose who this person is, but I had to create an episode where I addressed their question, and I wanted to be very sensitive on the topic because I understand how misinformation can get into the wrong hands, and people's brains are very malleable based off of the information that's being given to them. So I answered the question the best way that I could, and I got a response back from him, and he was like, "Thank you, that's just what I needed to hear." Fast forward, I got a review copy for Shadow of the Tomb Raider from a friend that I used to work with back in the day in Best Buy. His name is Herbert Shaw. He does his own, he's like a game journalist all on his own. And he gave me my first review copy. And that's when I started reviewing video games. And it was really difficult for me to just sit there and script how I wanted to represent this game in my review. I never had any training on any of this. I was just a guy. I was the everyman. And I thought it came out pretty good. I started getting more opportunities that I let fly by me because I never felt like I was ready to take on any of these roles. I felt like a phony. I felt like a fake, And hearing everybody here today and understanding the power of our people is really important because I never knew that growing up how much, like I said earlier, I was holding myself back based off of what I saw in my neighborhood growing up. I thought this is as far as we go, but we're more than that. We have power, especially when we're united. We have such a unique and compelling voice that we can share to the world. And like I said, I'm very privileged just to be here. I'm really nervous, by the way. Public speaking is not something that I'm accustomed to doing, but all right, I read this book called Spartan Up by Joe DeSena. And he had a line in that book that resonated with me a lot. And he said, if the most difficult thing you've done up until this point is go to the grocery store, then that's the level of difficulty you're prepared to deal with. So you have to put yourself through difficult experiences so that you can shape the individual that you're going to be going forward in life. And I thought that was really telling. I spent a ton of time just listening to people talk, understanding how I personally myself could be a better speaker. And it was really eye-opening to discover that I knew nothing. We're always learning. Every day that we wake up, every day that we draw breath, we are presented with a new opportunity to increase the individual that we are, but not just for us, but for our friends and family and the people that we care about. And that's something that I want to keep pushing forward. I don't want to be the guy that just went to the grocery store. I want to be the one that got on an airplane, came here, and having this talk in front of all of you right now. It's difficult, but it's empowering. And again, I just thank everybody for their love and support. Once more, Jason took a chance on me. I thank you, Zach, for giving us an amazing education yesterday. I loved the tour. I thought that it was really great. A lot of amazing art pieces. I want to thank all the speakers that sat with me and had breakfast with me and, had a drink with me and just had conversation that made me feel like I belonged. Because I really genuinely in my heart of hearts felt like I didn't belong. I was really nervous coming on this trip. Thank you, Eduardo. Thank you, Carolina. Thank you, Griselda. Thank you, Cisco. Thank you, Zach. Thank you. Who did I leave out? Who else? Everybody. Oh my God, Jorge. How could I forget Jorge? Dude, you just spoke. By the way, very good stuff. I resonated with your story quite a bit, especially the early part because I used to be an artist when I was a kid. I used to draw all the time. And that's something that I gave up on, and it's encouraging to hear you talk about art and how you made this amazing career out of it, and you're telling stories to the world, you're creating amazing content, and it's really inspirational. Lessons I wish I knew when I was younger. I wish I had somebody to tell me all these things growing up. I really do. I wish that I had someone that just came up to me and was like, hey, you know what? You're worthy. You're capable. You can do this. Who's telling you you can't? Where did you get these preconceived notions in your mind that you couldn't do something because of your upbringing? Some of us weren't even born in this country, and we came here, we made something of ourselves. Some of us had to speak the language. English is not my first language. Yo me crié hablando español. English is my second language. And I made it my primary because I felt that that's what I had to be in order to grow. But being here today and just the last couple of days and just in general, it's extremely empowering to know that the Latino community is strong and powerful. And there's so many amazing people among all of us here. And I look forward to networking and working with you all in the future. I look forward to continuing the path of growth because we never stop learning. Every day of our lives that we are here in this world, we are learning a new lesson, and you are worthy, you are capable. Even if people tell you that you're not, you have to realize that the only person that places a limitation on themselves is you. When you look in the mirror every morning, you are your own greatest enemy. And if you let the experiences of your past and those detractors tell your story, then you will never have the opportunity to tell your own story. And that in itself would be a tragedy. Thank you.
Thank you all for attending the 6th Annual Latinx Games Festival, Day 2, one more day to go. Thank you to our sponsors, Xbox. Thank you to the FBI. Thank you to Panic, our venue partner, the Nationals Bank. Wow, sorry. Just actually hearing what he said and just like kind of reflecting, it's a lot to take in. And honestly, like I'm just happy all of you made it out here, so. Thank you to our venue partner, the NHCC, the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce, and the foundation for making this happen. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.